Okay, so what we'll do is, we'll start with basic understanding of how to write an essay very quickly so that you have an idea also, right? If I directly jump into telling about the solutions or what needs to be written, first we'll try to understand what is the best way to write an essay. Second thing, tell me, were you all able to write essay in 3 hours, all the 3 essays today? Right? So one important thing when we are talking about essays, obviously first is your structure should be good. There has to be a proper flow and coherence in your essay. We'll elaborate it shortly. Secondly, good quality content has to be there. Right? Content has to be engaging in nature. Then, most important thing which comes up is your time management. Because there are a lot of students who will say that I followed the same guidelines, whatever was told in the class, right? But my marks were not up to the mark because you didn't manage your time properly. Because say first essay you are writing in 1 hour 20 minutes or 1 hour 30 minutes. So it means your quality will be compromised for your next 2 essays. Even if you did with the same kind of structure or same kind of strategy, quality will be less. Now the score which you are getting in essay, it's not about 1 essay is very wonderful and 2 are very average. All the 3 essays have to be good quality if you are aiming that okay, I should be scoring good marks which will help me to increase my main score. Right? So these 3 things, they're very important, and first thing which is important is your structure. Now when we're talking about structure and content, both of them, you have to understand that there is a difference between answer writing, which we do for other subjects, right? And there is a difference between essay writing. Answer writing is fact-based, right? There is analysis also, but mostly your answers are descriptive in nature. You have limited words, whatever has been asked, say you have essay on simultaneous elections, right? There can be a question also on simultaneous election, that do you agree time has come for your simultaneous elections? So here your aim is to directly come to the point. First in the introduction, probably in answer writing, if it's in GS, you will write down what do you mean by simultaneous elections, and very quickly you will write down arguments for and arguments against, and then quickly you will conclude the answer, right? Now this is very fact based, right? Whatever has been asked, very concisely, very crisply you are writing it. There is no novelty involved, there is no personal opinion involved here, right? There are no lot of examples involved here. Very crisply you have to just complete your answer. Now essay is something different. Essay is a literary piece, right? Or you can say something where you are expressing your opinion, your personal opinion. Here certain novelty has to be there in thought process. You might have read articles, editorials in newspapers. They're very different, right? It's not that they start their editorial with definition of something. They'll slowly build up the article, they'll include something interesting, they'll try to bind the attention of the person who is reading it, right? And very nicely, in a good language, in a powerful, narrative, they'll try to put across their points, and then at the end, obviously, conclusion of the article or editorial will be there. It's not a mechanical thing that there was an introduction in the editorial, then there was body of the editorial, in points they are writing it, and then there was a conclusion. No, editorials or essays are not like this. They're kind of, you can say, not storytelling, but a kind of storytelling. Right? You're trying to explain to the examiner one-on-one what do you feel about this particular issue. Right? Content obviously comes from GS only, that's no doubt, but the way you express yourself, way you make it engaging, way you make it something which binds the interest of an examiner. He is wanting to turn the next page. He is finding it so interesting. That is what lies at the soul of the essay. Don't make it mechanical like your answer writing. So this takes us to a very important point. Please don't write essay in point form. Please never do that. Have you ever seen, because I know this is a very basic thing, but even after telling in class also, there's so much disturbance. Okay, continuing. So, it's a very basic thing I usually tell in class again and again, but still I'll find out that disturbance hai wo. That students start writing answers in points, the essay in points, right? Or they'll give headings like they give in the GS paper. They'll start writing, say simultaneous election is the first, right? So you don't write in your essay arguments for as a heading. Right? You're not writing a GS paper. Every time you're writing an essay, remember editorial and newspaper, do they use such headings? Even if they're using headings, they're very innovative in nature. I'll tell you how as we move on. But never consider your essay in the same manner you write your answers in your GS. Right? Don't write in points, never write in points, always in a paragraph form. Always. Right? You can change paragraphs, right? If you are thinking that, okay, this point I'll explain in this very short paragraph, then you can have a connecting line, then again shift to the next point in the next paragraph, but never in points. If you have an habit of using your subheadings, you can use it, there is no problem, but use it in a novel manner. Right? Not causes, reasons, arguments for, arguments against, again gives a GS-like appearance to your essay. Right? Say for example, there is an essay on corruption, corruption is there, right? So you want to write down about the characteristic feature of corruption, say for example. So instead of writing features of corruptions or characteristic features or type of, or you want to write effects of corruption, instead you can use certain headings such as corruption, give a hyphen, a hydra-headed demon. Right? Now this is a very nice subheading where you are trying to give an indication to the examiner that now I'll be explaining about what is corruption or how it is a hydra-headed demon, right? That it has so many ill effects, it's like a demon which has so many heads, right? So if you want to use subheadings, use these kinds of subheading. Don't use causes, reasons, types, classification. Again, disrupts the flow of your essay and makes it very mechanical. There is a reason why essay which usually have similar kind of topics which you do in your GS also. Simultaneous election or financial assistance to AP, this can come in GS also. But they're asking in essay, there has to be certain difference. You cannot follow the same rules as you were doing in GS. Essay and answer writing, there are two different things and you should keep these things in mind always, right? That writing style has to be different. Now, when we're talking about flow of the essay, it means there has to be a connectivity in the entire essay. Whatever paragraph you are writing, right? Say you have started introducing what is simultaneous selection. You've written an introduction, right? You're explaining, you're defining it, or you're giving an example. Now you want to shift to next paragraph. Right? So before you shift, there has to be a connecting line which conveys to the examiner that the meaning of the simultaneous elections is over. Now this person will be shifting to, say, probably why it is required right now, right? You don't write in this way, just to convey through the connecting line that now you are shifting to some other part of the essay. So that connectivity has to be there. No paragraph has to be in the isolation that you are discussing definition of simultaneous or meaning of simultaneous selection and suddenly you shifted to some other part without announcing to the examiner or without any connectivity that okay, we have seen that this is the meaning of simultaneous selection. Now the question arises, do we really need simultaneous elections in India, or what is the need of simultaneous election in India? Put a question mark, write your essay in a form you're talking to the examiner, right? Making it engaging. Put a question mark and then in the next paragraph start writing why do we actually need simultaneous election in India, right? So this connectivity has to be there in your essay. Each paragraph should be connected to the next paragraph, right? Now, other thing which is connectivity is fine, but how do I start my essay? Now, one thing you have to keep in mind is that your essay should have a interesting and engaging start. You cannot directly start writing about, say, if one of the essay today is about the reservation system, you cannot, it's preferred that you don't start defining what is a reservation system, right? Again, gives it a look of a GS paper, right? And also you have to write, good amount of words here. If you are not elaborating it properly, if you are not conveying it in a novel manner, you will finish your essay in 2-3 pages also. What you will do to fill the other pages, right? So your start has to be engaging. Now next question is how. Here you have to keep in mind that you can start your essay with an anecdote, an account, a story, something in the current affairs. Right? The story can be fictional or non-fictional, very short, which is related to the topic. I'll give you an example. Like this was the first essay, Simultaneous Election in India, a path to stability or threat to federalism. Right? So now, instead of defining simultaneous election, I have given a short story that in 1980, an elderly woman in remote village of Madhya Pradesh asked a journalist, why do we vote so often? Weren't we here just last year? His confusion was understandable. India's electoral cycle has become an unending process, with one state or the other always going to the polls. This frequent voting disrupts the governance, drain resources, fuels populism. In response to the idea of the election, simultaneous election has resurfaced as a potential solution. However, while it promises stability and efficiency, it also raises concerns about federalism. So very quickly, with a story, you discuss the theme. Right? I will be talking about this particular theme about simultaneous election in coming. Now end, this story, this little account, which is fictional in nature. There is no lady in 1980s in the village of Madhya Pradesh. You just wrote a story which is connected to the topic, which is telling about the frustration of the people. That why do we keep on voting every year? Something or the other is there. Right? Or developmental works are stopped every now and then. Some or the other election is happening in India. Right? Now you end this with a question, a thought-provoking question. That this raises a question, has time come to have simultaneous election in India? Right? So start with some story kind of thing. Say topic of reservation is also there in the test. Next topic, time has come to reevaluate the reservation system. Right? So here you can write a story about two people, both of them belonging to a Dalit caste. Right? One person is his father is working as a politician, right? They have a good house, they have good environment, they can provide, they have good money, economically they are very good, social, their status is also very good. And in the same, city, there is another child from a Dalit family whose father works as a sweeper, house is in the slum area, proper water is not there, sanitation is not there. He doesn't even have a separate study room for himself, right? So through this story, you can say that both of them, they are belonging to the same caste, but their life experiences are very different, but both of them can avail reservation system. So this raises a question that do we need to overhaul the reservation system, or do we need to bring about some changes, some safeguards? Let's discuss. Right? So with this story, you explain the entire theme of the essay. I'm not saying defining something at the start is wrong. It's not wrong. But we do not want average marks. We want good marks. Good marks will come when your essay is something different from the person who is sitting in front of you. Take a small example only. I'm not saying in the entire AP your essay should be the best. Just consider a person who is sitting in front of you, and the examiner is checking. Say 5 people are sitting in front of you. Everybody, started the essay with some definition, right? So it was a basic thing. Examiner, since last 10 paper, he's seeing the same start. Now comes your paper, where you explain the entire theme, the topic, in a small story kind of thing, which is related to reservation system. Now, the chances are very high that examiner will find that this is something novel. This is what I have not checked in the last 10-20 papers. This student's writing skill is much better than the other. You will get more marks obviously. 4 marks, 5, and mind you, 4, 5 marks, even 1 marks count. When you are giving a competitive exam, people don't clear exam even sometimes by 0.5 marks, and here I am talking about 4, 5 plus marks you can get from other person. So essay should be something which is engaging, which is interesting. It should not be mechanical. It should not be like your GS answer which you are writing. Right? Are we clear here how to start the essay? How did you start? Yes, anyone? You can ask question also, that is it a right way to start? This is one way. Yes, anyone who has a doubt that I started in this way, is it right or wrong? Anyone? Yes, you can start like this also, something like I told you, something in the current affair is there, you can start. There was one student, I checked his copy, in which what he had done is simultaneous election. He had written, in the first starting only, headlines from different newspaper, about simultaneous, Times of India, The Hindu, Indian Express, obviously, fictitious headings. So with this heading, he said that this topic has become a very hot news in, today's time, right? When the country is in a perpetual mode of election all around the year, and newspapers are also indicated that people are frustrated, development works are suffering. Question arises is, has the time come, or the need of the hour is simultaneous elections, right? So something interesting in nature has to be there when you start your essay. Don't start, and it's not wrong to start with a definition, but why would you want average marks when you can get good marks, right? Aim for excellence always. And it's not difficult to frame a story or pick up something from the news. You can write about that, right? Say something comes about participation of women in Panchayati Raj institution, right? This is the essay topic. So on March 7th, there was a news in Chhattisgarh. Women sarpanches were there. So they had won the election. Who was taking the oath? Their husbands were taking the oath. Right? So this is just one day before International Women's Day. Right? They have won the elections, but the problem of Sarpanch Pati is there in every village in India. Right? They are just, you can say on paper they are elected Sarpanchas because reservation is there for women in your Panchayati Raj elections, but the de facto heads are their husband only, because it's a patriarchal society. Nobody wants to be governed by a woman. Nobody listens to a woman. Right? Now, you yourself think as an examiner, there is a person, you are checking the paper, one person has started with defining that, okay, Panchayati Raj institution started with this amendment act, this and that. And one person from current affair picked up something which is very much directly related to the topic. Obviously, you will give more marks to this person. So like this, try to start your essay in an interesting way. Are we clear here? Right? Now, we will just try to understand quickly see, one thing you have to remember is, in today's time, content is the most easiest to find out. Right? Today also you can go back, search for all topics. Right? You will get ample amount of content. Difference will not come from content. Content is important, obviously, you cannot leave the pages blank, but the difference, say two students are sitting here, both of them have read the same content, but one person scores much more marks, say 10 marks more than the other person. It means that there is something different in how he is writing that particular thing, how he is structuring it. So don't at the start, you have, exam is in May, right? What is the date? May 3rd. So you have good amount of time. Even if you have not practiced up till now, you have good time. Now you have to focus on the structure. That is what I will be trying to explain more today in the class. Content is already there. Today it's an era of chat GPT. You put up any topic, you will get thousands of things about the topic. But if you copy the same thing, you will not get marks, because that's very mechanical in nature. It lacks that human novelty. Content will never be a problem. You go online, there are thousands of YouTube videos you'll get on simultaneous elections. Thousands of articles you will get a direct essay also on this particular topic. But the difference in a competitive exam will come how you are expressing the same content in a nice manner, which is very interesting to read, which comes across that this is your original thought, this is how you think, or this is very engaging, there is proper flow is there, every paragraph is connected to each other. Flow and coherence means paragraphs are not in isolation, that suddenly you shift the gear and you are discussing about something else. Right? So these things will matter. At first, say, I don't know how much answer writing practice you have been doing, but first and foremost, focus on structure. Whether you are doing for your other papers, right, or for your essay, focus on structure, then content will come. Right? Okay, coming back here. Structure, when we are talking about, first I told you, start your essay with an interesting account, anecdote which can come from a fictional story, true story. You read something in the current affair, you want to write headlines or something like that. You came across certain, statistic, say essays about violence against women, increasing violence against women. You came across certain statistics which paint that, okay, every minute these many women are being violated, or every month these many cases are registered. You can write those statistics also at the start, right? So start with something interesting in nature, right? But don't go beyond one paragraph or two paragraphs, right? That your story is so long that you are taking up 2 pages, 1 page. You don't have that much of time. In 1 hour, you have to write everything about simultaneous election, right? It's not about just the anecdote, so try to make it crisp like I've shown in the simultaneous selection. This just one small paragraph is there. End that anecdote with some thought-provoking questions. Like, has the time come for simultaneous election? Will simultaneous election benefit India or make our election system more confusing? Something like that. So those questions should be there. And you can end it with, let's discuss or let's elaborate or essay will elaborate these questions or will give answers to these questions. So with this you have set tone for your essay, that expect this thing in my essay, which is coming shortly. When you will read next 4-5 pages, this thing will come up. Right? Are we clear here? Now, next what you will do is, now here you can define about the basic term which is there in the essay topic. Simultaneous election, reservation system, or your wealth tax is there, you want to explain it, or essays about blockchain technology, or essays about poverty. Whatever is the basic main theme of the essay, you can explain about it. Its meaning. Right? Now, see, essay is basically same topic, you are elaborating it. Right? So, I will tell you various ways along which you can think in your essay, because even if you are attempting 3 essays, there are 2 tests are there, so you will be writing 6 essays. So it's not, it's very bleak chance that same essay topics will again come in your paper. It might be different, but you should have certain criteria that no matter which topic comes, my thought process will move in this direction. I will think about these particular thing when I'm writing that particular essay. Right? So now after introduction, what you will do is, you will think about the historical. For online student, is the board visible? Is the board clear for? Okay. Historical background or evolution of that concept. Because in essay we want to do an in-depth analysis of the topic which is given. If it is talking about reservation, try to tell how this reservation system came into being in India. Right? Before independence you can talk about, right? Before independence, if you have little knowledge about your modern history, you can start with even Pune Pact also. Right? And then you can talk about how post-independence in the constitution itself, your reservation benefits were given to certain sections of our society. Right? So historical background of something, even if you're talking about blockchain technology, there is something, there was certain start of blockchain technology, somebody might have started that particular thing. Say if the essay is about artificial intelligence, when was the first talk of artificial intelligence, who invented it? So some historical background you have to talk about it. Right? Say like I was saying, that if the essay is about women in your Panchayati Raj institutions, so now here either you can talk about your evolution of the Panchayati Raj system and how reservations were given, or you can even go more beyond and write down that participation of women in your governance, it's not new. Even when we think about, you can go in ancient history also, that in Vedic age there were sabhas and samitis in which women were also participating, right? So it's not something new that after independence suddenly we started thinking about participation of women in administration or governance or governing. But it is something which has evolved over centuries, over ages, starting from even Vedic age. Even in ancient India we had women rulers also, right? So it's not about just your grassroots level democracy. Women have been an important part through the entire history, women have been an important part of the government, right? So give certain context about, because when you give a context, first of all, it is adding depth to your essay. That you don't have just the superficial knowledge. Even about simultaneous election, after your independence, India for some certain time, it did have simultaneous elections only. Right? So that's the history. So this add depth to your essay in a sense that examiner knows that this student has a good knowledge. It's not a superficial knowledge. Everybody would know what is argument for and against. It's very simple. But this one added one paragraph about the evolution of that concept, historical background. You can go beyond. You can go in ancient India, you can go in medieval India, you can go in the British India. Anything you find is related to the topic, which tells about that what is the base of this particular topic. May it be reservation system, may it be anything. Right? If you don't remember, it's okay, you can leave it. Whatever I am telling is, these are indicative in nature. It's not that you stop writing in your examination that I cannot remember. If you remember, well and good, otherwise shift to the main topic. But these are small things which will help you to gain that extra points from other people. Nobody might think about, there will be very few people who will think about writing the background of simultaneous election or background of reservation system. They'll just quickly jump to the topic. But you are slowly building it. You started it with a story. You explained the concept. Now you are discussing the historical aspect of your particular. Then you are coming to the point. Right? So you are slowly building, and if you see the flow here, it's very interesting to read. Right? Your story conveyed the entire topic's meaning, then you explained the meaning of that particular thing, then you came back to the history. After you explain the historical background, you can say that, okay, let's shift to today's time. Let's see what is the status of any topic, reservation system, simultaneous election in present times. Right? Now this is a connecting line, and then you shift about writing whatever the essay is demanding of you. Right? Are we clear here? How to move forward in your essay? So this structure works in almost every essay, right? That anecdote, introduction, something related to its foundation, evolution or historical background, and then coming to the basic things which are being asked in the essay, right? Are we clear? Okay. Now, most of the essay topics which are coming in APPSC, they are already defining the range within which they need it. Right? It's not, topic is not just simultaneous election in India. Now this becomes a wide topic. You can explore different directions, but they're giving a boundary that simultaneous election in India is a path to stability or it's a threat to the federalism. So there are two paths here which you have to address. Right? So you cannot go, your essay cannot be written in a form where you are saying, let's see the arguments for simultaneous election, then you discuss that, and now let's see what are the arguments against. Because the question is asked in a different manner. Your essay has to be which justifies what is there in the topic. That whatever after historical background you are discussing, first you will discuss that how this simultaneous election will provide a stability. After in 1 page, 1.5 page, you are done with the stability part, you will shift to your part where you will tell that this can be a threat to the federalism. Now, after covering these two major topics, which are there in the essay theme, which is already given, you feel there are other things also you want to talk about. There are other miscellaneous things you want to talk about. You can talk about that in the next few paragraphs, 1-2 paragraphs you can talk about. But your skeletal structure, right? Your boundaries of your essays first should address what is there given in the essay topic. Right? Because the essay topic is not coming just reservation system or simultaneous election or women empowerment. They're framing a full question about it. Sometimes it's discussed, it is critically analyzed also. It's a full line. So your main demand of your essay should be within that boundary first. After that you feel that I have certain other dimensions also. I can add little more apart from these two things about simultaneous selection, I have more information also. You are free to write about this particular concept in the coming paragraphs, right? Are we clear about these things, right? Now, if say essay is it's open-ended, it's just a topic, you can, you never know how the topic will be framed, right? Now, question is, how do I expand that particular thing? You will think about different, parameters. You can talk about, types of something. Say, topic is open topic, they're asking about artificial intelligence, right? It's just artificial intelligence. So you can think about what are its types, what are its uses or advantages or disadvantages, right? Causes of something, right? Not just artificial intelligence, general. So these are certain guidelines through which you can create dimensions in your essay. You have an open-ended thing and you don't know how to expand this. So see if there are certain types of it. You can classify that particular thing. Say it's about just poverty. You can talk about classification, that okay, there is absolute poverty, relative poverty also, generational poverty also, right? Accidental poverty, so rural poverty, urban poverty. So this will just tell about different dimensions about poverty, right? You can next discuss about its causes. You can discuss advantages, obviously are not there for, you can write about the consequences of something, impact of something, significance of something. So these dimensions will act as a thinking tool for you. Your brain is blank for a minute. You don't know how to proceed further. Think along these lines. That can I write something related to the topic along any of the concept? It's not necessary that every concept or every dimension will be covered in every essay, but it gives you a certain foundation to think. It will act as a thinking tool if the essay topic is open-ended in nature. But usually if you see in APPSC, they're giving a question. So they are defining the boundaries that we expect these two questions that you will discuss, that how it will be a part to stability or how it can act as a threat to your federalism, right? But in case it is not there, you can think around these lines. Or after discussing this, you want to discuss something extra, you can think about these dimensions and you can add it in your essay. Are we clear up till now? Any doubts you have? Yes? Anyone from the online section? Any doubt is there? Please ask. Now next is that I have discussed everything. Now how to end the essay. Conclusion has to be always solution oriented. You have to provide a middle path. You've read ancient India, you've read Buddhism. Buddhism talks about Madhyamik Marg. Madhyamik Marg is middle path. You don't want to go in the extremes, right? We are not saying that simultaneous election will solve every problem of the election system in India, nor we are saying that it's harmful. Let's take a middle path probably, right? Say, for example, instead of focusing just on simultaneous elections, first just solve the more pressing issue with the election system, that is criminalization of our election system, bogus voting, right? Use of muscle power, and then probably on your pilot project basis we can just test it out first before rolling out to the entire India, right? So this is a middle path, that we are not dismissing that simultaneous elections are not probably, but there are other more problems which are much bigger than this wastage of time or country being in election mode all the years. There are other things also which we need to solve. So always a solution has to be there. Your future civil servants, your basic job is to provide, simple terms, your job is to provide solutions to the problem. That should reflect in your essay, that you know what can be the best way forward. If you are talking about any issue, even if you are talking about rehauling of the reservation system, or we are talking about simultaneous election, or we are talking about wealth tax, or we are talking about Andhra Pradesh financial incentives, whatever we are talking about, I know what can be the best way forward, what we can do, what solutions should be there to address whatever I have discussed in the essay. Right? So this creates a comprehensive essay which you have started with an interesting anecdote, you have introduced, you have defined that particular main theme, you've given its historical background, right? Then you move on to the essay topic, see what are the things they are expecting you to discuss, you discuss that. After that you feel there is something extra, you can think along these lines, that if something is left, you discuss these particular, any dimension you can discuss if you feel it is relevant. And then at the end, you conclude by giving a solution to whatever you have discussed up till now. Right? Are we clear here? Any doubts up till now? Yes? Any doubts? Okay. Now, in the entire thing, you have to remember to include examples also. To include best practices. To include data or statistics. Right? Say, if I'm talking about best practice, there is some essay which has come up on health system. You can give good examples like, in Cuba, they follow a consultorio model. In consultorio model is, they are focused on your prevention rather than cure. So every small communities work on this model in which every community will be assigned a nurse, a doctor, and whatever aid workers are there in the hospital. So it's the responsibility of the nurse and another auxiliary nurse or whatever to regularly go from home to home. They are divided, they're given certain amounts of houses that you have to cover this, where they have to go for regular checkups of, say somebody is pre-diabetic, regularly checking them, somebody is a patient of hypertension, regularly checking in, infants are there, pregnant women are there, lactating women are, so that any kind of disease is there, it's nipped in the bud, it's stopped at the start only. So focusing more on prevention. So with this, what happened is the pressure on the secondary health care, your big hospitals, tertiary care, right, that became less. In India, what happens is people spend less amount of time in prevention. In India, until and unless you're dying from something, people will not go to the hospital. Right? Say you take example of a simple toothache also. Right? They see in their tooth there is some caries is there that is visible during when they are doing the brushing, it's visible. So they will not go to the dentist. They'll not. In India, there is no fashion of regularly visiting a until and unless it's paining so much that the person cannot sleep at night. Then only they go to the doctor. Now the only solution is you have to extract the tooth. Right? That is the only thing. There is no RCT that can be done. There is no filling that can be, because you've destroyed the tooth. But if you would have prevented at the start by flossing, by brushing, by regular dental hygiene, cleaning can be done, that tooth could have been preserved. Right? There's a difference between art. You can always put an artificial tooth, but there is a great difference between a natural tooth and an artificial tooth. Right? Talk to people who are old who use dentures. It's very difficult for them to eat. Right? So it's better there to prevent the health of your teeth at the starting level. So that is a best practice. Similar kind of model is there in Delhi also about Mohalla clinics. Mohalla is your local community. Right? They also had the small dispensaries will be there for every communities, which they called in Mohalla. No, this is a good practice. Say a essay has come on health. In between, you can quote it Or when you are giving a conclusion or you are writing about the solution, you can tell that this model can be applied all over India or in our state also, whatever is there. Then try, because it's APPSC, try examples and best practices from your own state. Right? Try to have statistics and data from, because you're giving APPSC. If you don't know about your own state, there might be a very good program, right? Or there might be data or statistic about your own state. You should be well versed with that. More you write your essay or answer from AP point of view that you gave, and say some question comes up in your governance part. Say question is about citizen charter, for example. Now, if you know an example, good example of citizen charter in Andhra Pradesh, you will get obviously more marks as compared to you write something about, say, in Bangalore city, citizen report cards became very popular, right? So that's not wrong, but if you quote something from your own state, means that you have knowledge of your state. You will, at the end, you will serve in this state only. You're writing about other states, you don't know, have any information about your own state, doesn't give a good impression to the examiner. So try maximum example. I'm not saying all the example, but here and there, if you can sprinkle something from AP itself, some data, some statistics, some examples, some good practices, right? Some personality, you are writing about certain personality who is from your own state, that will lead to more marks, because this is a state exam, right? And it will increase a connect with the examiner also. He is also from your state. It conveys you are well versed about what is going on in your state, and you are the best candidate to clear this exam and become a civil servant, right? So these things you should keep in mind, because these things validate your analysis, whatever you did. Say in simultaneous election, you are writing that there is a lot of economic stress and you don't know the data, that every every year how much money is spent on elections throughout India. Do you have a data for that? If you don't have, it's okay. But if you validate it with the data that this amount of lakh crores of rupees is spent every year in election, or in the single election this was the expenditure, obviously you have now supported it with something, some authentic data has been given. And it's not that you have to write the exact number, just write something like this, that okay, 200 lakh crore, whatever is there. I'm just giving a hypothetical figure. So you validate something through examples, through data, through statistics, through best practices, right? That again increases the quality of your essay, right? In your answers, other papers when you are writing, it's not feasible for you to write examples in every point. But here in essay you have a liberty, you have 1 hour to explain the entire topic. So you can sprinkle examples, best practices here and there, and you will get good marks. Right? Are we clear? Yes. So what you can do is go back and see whatever has been in news in last 1 year. Just collect few data points, right? 1 or 2 data points about whatever has been simultaneous election, reservation system, or whatever important current affair news you think can become an essay topic. Just collect 2 or 3 data or good examples. Prepare a table kind of thing so that you can revise it again and again. Right? Are we clear here? Any doubt up till now? Are we clear how to structure your essay? If you have written in the same manner, it's good, because we have discussed almost a similar thing in the strategic revision. If you were not aware of it or you hadn't practiced, after this class, try to self-evaluate your essay. Try to see it again, or try to see your old essays. Try to understand what is lacking. Right? You can be a very good judge of your own essay when you read it again. You will realize that okay, there is lack of flow, there is no example, spelling mistake. One thing you should also remember, essay they're not expecting very, high quality English from you or flowery language from you, that you write poems or something like that, right? You are a normal aspirant, you're a normal student, you're not an author, you're not a poet, but it has to be grammatically correct and no spelling mistakes. This is the bare minimum they ask from you. And handwriting, if it's good, bonus points for you, but if you feel your handwriting is not very good, at least have basic neatness in your handwriting. Do not write crammed up lines that in one line you are adding 11 words and it's becoming very crammed up. Give proper spacing. When you change paragraph, leave the front side, leave one line and then start from. So basic neatness has to be there in your paper, right? Avoid writing in points. Avoid drawing diagrams also in your essay. That you can do in your GS papers, but not here, right? Essay has to be like an editorial. In paragraphs without flowcharts, not in points. Headings, if you are writing, it should be certain novel headings should be there, right? Are we clear here? Yes? Okay. So let's just quickly see what all dimensions you can discuss in the essay topics which were given. So we had these 6 topics, right? Now, there's only one rule when you are writing an essay is, for whatever essay topic you feel with respect to content, you have more dimensions. And it is a general topic. You can write down. Now with this, say, take example of this blockchain technology, right? If you are not sure how blockchain technology works, what is this particular thing, what is the application of, please leave it, right? Because this is highly factual. Say the essay topic comes on artificial intelligence. Again, it's factual. You should know what are the types of AI. You should know who invented this particular thing. You should have a lot of example how it works, right? Technology wise, how this is working. So there will be certain technical essay topics and there will be certain general topics. Try to choose general topics. Say for example, poverty. You can go on and on about poverty. There are a lot of content available with you. Right? There is nothing technical about poverty that you have to explain some formula to discuss poverty. There is no formula for poverty. General, what are the cause, what are the types, right? What are the challenges, policy. But blockchain, it is technical in nature, right? Then, say this topic is there. Financial assistance to AP, addressing economic needs and way forward. Now here also you need to have specific information about what is the economic needs as a state we are facing, right? You should have certain numbers available with you. You should have certain examples, right? Now this is a essay topic. The examiner who will check, he will have a lot of information. Right, he is a senior person, he knows in and out about what is going on in the state. Only and only if you are very confident that I have enough content about the economic condition of AP, then only pick up this topic. Choosing a topic is very important. And you have ample number of options. You have 3 options, something you might be knowing in the 3. But always choose something where you can expand it properly. Right? Certain essays will be very technical in nature. Either you know them or you don't know them. When some essays will be very general. And there is a myth among students also that if I choose a difficult topic, I will get more marks. Right? That everybody will be writing this essay. So no, nothing like that. Your essay is treated as an individual writing. Right? It's not that even if all the students who are giving the paper, they've written the same essays, doesn't matter. Right? You will be judged on the basis of what you have written. How novel it is, how nice it is, what is the flow of the essay. Right? Are we clear here? So choose a topic very carefully. Right? And after choosing your essay, say for every essay there is 1 hour. So before that, 5 minutes do certain mind mapping. Don't just jump into writing the essay. Give a proper, that okay, I'll write this story here, introduction, I will write down this particular thing, and in the next part, history part, I will give these examples just very shortly in 5 minutes, 2 to 5 minutes, right? Then next dimensions I will be discussing, and then this points will be there, because this will help you. There will be a rough page. This will help you to streamline your thoughts. You will not miss something. Usually what happens is we forget our own thoughts sometimes in the examination. We are writing something and we remember something, and by the time we finish that point, we forget it, that what we were thinking. So essay is something which is, you have to write good amount of pages. So before writing that, have a map with you that I will be going in this direction. Right? This will also ensure a flow. You can keep on referring back to this rough part. That okay, this is now complete, now I have to write this, and now after that I have to write this. Right? Are we clear? Any doubt up till now? Then now other thing is, try to choose topics which are, not similar to each other. Right? Say in one section they're talking about simultaneous election, and say section C they're generally talking about problems in the electoral system in India. So they're very closely related to each other, and there is a possibility of overlapping of points also. Right? So why to again repeat the same things, write the same similar things? So in all the 3 sections, choose topics which are remotely not related to each other, they're different from each other, so that there is no repetition of points, there is no repetition of story which you are writing. Right? See, in your competitive exam, planning is the most important thing. If these things are clear in your mind, how to choose a topic, which way you have to write, how to arrange the content, half of your battle is won. If you're going into the exam without any master plan, without any planning, how will I start, how will I end, your marks will not be good. Right? And once you strategize, once you have a proper plan, how, not just essay, any paper, how you will be writing, then practice matters. Because in examination condition, I am speaking here, you have listened about the strategy, you watch a YouTube video, but until and unless you apply it before the exam, right? You write test, be regular with your test. You write a test, you apply it, then only you can expect that, okay, I will be applying the same strategy in the stress conditions also. Because you may go through hundreds of strategy, but in the examination, if you're not practiced enough, all the strategies go out of the window. You forget everything. You write in the default form, which you have trained yourself since ages. Right? So if you want that strategy to work, you should practice it beforehand. Otherwise, you will write everything will go into vain. So practice as much as you can. Apart from the test which you are giving here, make it a point that okay, every week Sunday I will write one essay. Right? Or say after in every 10 days I will write one essay. 6 you will anyhow attempt it. Try to increase the number, probably 6 more from your side you can write down. It's at the end it boils down to practice. Right? Every student here sitting here knows the strategy now, but the people who will actually apply it, actually practice it, will get more marks. Practice is very important. Revision and practice. Right? Next few months should be solely focused on it. Don't pick up new materials. Whatever you have been studying, that's the best thing for you. Just remember, keep your syllabus by your side. Whatever terms are given in the syllabus, that should be covered. Whatever you are seeing, you're covering it from institute's notes, you have your own notes, you're covering from internet, doesn't matter. But stick to them. Stick to one single source, revise it again and again, practice again and again, and nobody can stop you from getting good marks in mains. Right? Are we clear up till now? Okay. So we'll quickly see now. Now we have seen the basic strategy, and in between, in fact, we have discussed certain points also. So we'll just see simultaneous elections, a path to stability or threat to federalism. How many of you have written this essay? Okay, quite, because this is something which is in news again and again, right? You go back today also, try to check your essay, how improve, which kind of improvement you can do in your essay. So like I told you, you start with some anecdote which is related to simultaneous election, end it with few questions which you will explain in your essay. Then next you can write down about what are simultaneous elections. You can explain, give a context that usually in election system in India we see that there is a proper, a kind of a timetable for elections. Elections at center are there, election at states are there. There happen, in their own timeline. Whenever 5 years are over, every state has its own timetable, right? Center elections and state elections, they're different from each other, right? Their preparation of roles or voting for them. Recently, if you see in AP, it was in alignment with the center election also, but there are few, isolated cases when it is overlapping with the Lok Sabha election. Otherwise, they are segregated from each other. Now, simultaneous election means, you tell the meaning that the Lok Sabha elections, your elections at the center and for the state legislature, they happen at the same time. Right? Are we clear here? So you give a certain context, you explain the meaning, what is simultaneous elections. Now, how can I improve marks here? Probably if you have a knowledge about any country which already has simultaneous election, you can write it about that also. Right? So these are certain measures through which you can increase. Now next is, you write about the historical context of the simultaneous election. I've just written very, these are just not a model answer key, but just a guideline to tell you how you can write the content, right? Like I told you, content is freely available. It's not about content, it's about how you arrange the content. Now, simultaneous elections were a norm in India till your 1967, when political instability led to dissolution of several state assemblies and Lok Sabha at different times. So you can tell that it's not so now I've given it in one line. Now it is your writing skills. You will write down that simultaneous election is not a new phenomena which is for the first time we are hearing, but this has been there before also, right? Or you can tell about that recently even your AP elections, they were in sync with your center elections also, right? So we have certain context. It's not something new or we have to start from scratch. There is certain background to the simultaneous elections, right? Now next you will shift to the part where you will discuss that how this is a path to stability. So you will try to explain first that how country remains in a perpetual mode of elections, right? Where your leaders become less office bearers of some office but more like spokesperson for their party. Every now and then they're less talking about what the government is doing, they're more talking about what their party has been doing, right? So they become like a spokesperson. Right? If you see the elections also, various cabinet ministers, they are going to the specific states whenever the elections are there, right? To give, speeches, try to cater the voters of that particular state. So the country remains in a perpetual mode there. Somewhere or the other, in some part of the India, election is going on, so it hampers the stability in the country, right? The country remains in an election mode all around the year, and with this problem is when a country is in election mode, your problems of hate speech increases, right? At that point of view, you can also talk about stability. Incidences of voting buying, again, it is hampering with the fair and free elections which provide stability to the country, right? So these kind of things, right, can be stopped if we have a simultaneous election. The next other thing is, with each election your model code of conduct comes in, your developmental works are stopped, right? So there is no proper path which is going. There is lot of disruptions which are happening, may it be vote buying, may it be hate speeches, may it be communal violence also. There are certain then if you see, whenever there are voting, if there are due in southern part of India, suddenly the language issue emerges, right? Suddenly people, it's not that it's not a problem, it's a problem, but suddenly only for a small period of time when elections are due, there is a question of imposition of Hindi. All the time they'll not talk about it, but as soon as some election is coming about, there will always be a talk of language, that Hindi is being imposed. So this is a genuine issue. I'm not saying it's not a genuine issue. Hindi should not ever be imposed. We are a country where there are so many languages, we cannot impose one single. But this elections, some or the other problems emerges with it. Problem of regionalism, problem of language, problem of caste, problem of religion, right? Because at the end of the day, elections in a democratic setup means whoever has more number wins. How do you get more numbers? You mobilize people on the base of language or caste or religion, right? And this creates problem which hampers the stability of the country, which hampers the peace of the country. So with this, you can explain things. Now, although I've given 3 points here, you expand it in a manner in which you give examples also, right? That somewhere or the other, some politician will say something controversial and problem emerges, right? So probably it's, if simultaneous election are there, we are in a short election period is there, so rest of the year can be stable, can be peaceful, right? Different states or cabinet ministers, they can focus on their work rather than running to different places for campaigning, right? Are we clear here? Yes. Any doubt up till now? Then, in the miscellaneous part, or here you can write about the cost factor also, right? And also you can write about populism, that is also important, right? This promise of freebies, one or the other person will promise certain freebies. It disrupts the financial stability also. It puts so much pressure on the exchequer, right? You are distributing everything like a freebie. So no real change comes in. We are just putting a band-aid of freebies. Vote for us, we'll give you a laptop. Vote for us, we'll give you free transport. But nobody is catering to the basic problems which day-to-day person is facing, right? If we're talking about, okay, farm loans will be waived, that's a band-aid. Let's see what are the problems which our agriculture sector suffers from. Do we have proper irrigation facilities? Do we have proper crop insurance schemes? Nobody is worried. Everybody is happy that, okay, loan has been waived. How that particular thing is waived off, how much pressure on exchequer is there, how much taxpayers' money is going to, not for developmental purpose, but for your loan waivers, right? And it also disrupts the loan paying. Say I am a farmer, I have a capacity to pay back, and I see government always waives the loan, I would also stop giving the loan. That at the end of the day, government will pay. How will it, if I am honest with my loan payments, how is it benefiting me? Because at the end, government is just waiving off the loans. So lot of problems, and this issue, this populism emerges especially during your this election time, right? So this disrupts the entire stability which a governance system should be having, right? Even from security point of view also, you can write down that see, not just security, you know that during your elections, your teachers, they're on election duties, right? So their work is to teach students, but they're going door to door checking the voting list. So this one problem again disrupts the stability. Just give me 1 second. So like this you will give different points where you will convey the same thing, that it's a path to stability, that these are the issues. When teachers are going and checking the election, or they're on the election duties, there is something which is not just about election system, there is another part our education system is suffering. Right? This will provide a clear-cut stability that every part of the nation works properly. We have a proper time in which elections will happen, and after that we are back to work. Right? There are no intervals that okay, abhi here elections are going on, then again here, then the Lok Sabha, then the state, then the other type of elections. So with this, through examples, through statistics, you will explain elaboratively how simultaneous election is a path to stability. Are we clear here? Any doubt up till now? Yes? Any doubt? So although I have written in just one line, you elaborate this. These are just guidelines, plus include examples. Write thought-provoking lines. You can write down like this also. In GS you cannot write like this, that if teachers are on voting duties, who will take care of the future of our nation? Right? So like this, certain thought-provoking things can come. Now this you cannot do in your GS papers, right? There you just write these points and then get over with it. Here it's a literary piece, right? Here there is something where you are trying to give your opinion, which is coming across your opinion. If I am writing, it is coming across as Shilpa's opinion, that I am telling you that I feel in this manner, right? That should reflect in your essay. Are we clear? Okay. Now threat to your federalism. Yes, anyone, how it is a threat?
Could compromise regional interests.
Sorry?
Could compromise regional interests.
Yes. So your national and regional issues, they get merged. Right? Because there are people, if you see, they will vote for some other party at the center. When it comes to their regional state election, they will vote for the regional party sometimes, because that is more proficient to vote for the local. Say for example, if a person is there who is voting for, say for example, BJP, he or she feels that at the center BJP is good, but when he is voting in his or her state, he feels that BJP is like not a party which is rooted in the state, right? It might not be well versed with the issues which we are facing, so it's better I vote for some party which is regional in nature, which will bring up regional issues. Now when we have simultaneous elections, there is no demarcation in national or regional issue. It will be fought on one thing only, right? And in fact, the parties will, they will represent themselves in this manner, that okay, if we are in the center and if we are in your state also, better benefits you will get out of it, right? Now influence of the voters, your federalism also suffers because of this particular thing. So this you can write how in this manner it can hamper it. So you give examples, you give hypothetical examples, that say for example a regional issue of language, say, is there, right? It might get eroded in the process where there are simultaneous election. You will vote for a bigger issue, you will feel language issue is not a great issue, let's vote for the national party also in your state elections, right? So basically the bargaining power which is inherent in the federalism, it goes away with this, right? Now other thing is, there is high chances that your election machinery might be influenced by the party which is at the center, right? Because they have more financial manpower wise machineries, that they are controlling the unfortunately they are controlling all the bodies, constitutional, non-constitutional bodies. There might be an influence which again undermines the institution of your federalism, right? So like this you can write down different points where you will explain both sets of arguments, that it provides stability also, but at the other side there is an issue where there can be a compromise on the the theme or the essence of federalism with simultaneous elections, right? Proper demarcation has to be there. Now there cannot be a essay in which you have no proper flow. That one point you are telling its path to stability, next point you are telling how federalism is compromised, next you are writing again about the path to stability, then again demarcate it. At one place, explain how it is path to stability, and this might appear to you that okay, it is very simple. No, when you sit down and write, there is a possibility you start writing, the second point might be of the other part of the essay. So finish one dimension first, then move on to the second dimension. Don't produce something which is looks like a fish market, or it's hodgepodge, that okay, everything is mixed, there is no proper demarcation in what you are discussing. So it also conveys that your thought process has a lack of clarity, right? Your line of thought is very mixed up right now. You don't have clarity in writing things. So proper demarcation should be there. Say about any essay topic you are writing about advantages, finish the advantages first, then move on to the disadvantages. If in an essay you are writing about some any topic, successes, what are the successes? You finish it and then you discuss what are the failures. So properly demarcate your essay into different dimensions rather than mixing it up, right? This will lead to an essay which has a total lack of flow. Your essay should be such that examiner should not flip a page back to read that okay, what this person is meaning, I'm not understanding, that he goes to the back page and reads it again and then come back to make sense of it. Your essay should be so perfect that without turning the pages back, examiner is understanding very clearly, right? You won't be there sitting, standing by your examiner's side and telling that no sir, I meant this, not this. Right? You won't have that privilege. Right now here, say I am checking your essay, you've come for, certain guidance. You can explain it to me, I can ask you that okay, I didn't understand what you are trying to convey, and when you sometimes convey, I feel convinced that okay, you meant this. But there you don't have that privilege. So your essay should be very clearly demarcated, very crystal clear, total clarity of concept has to be there. Right? Are we clear? Okay. Now what is the middle path here? One thing is that two-phase elections can be there. National elections, and then all the states can have a state elections can be there. Now this will not lead to mixing up of the national or state issues. Other thing you can write is that before, like I told you, before we go for simultaneous election, let's first solve the more pressing issues in the electoral system. Criminalization of politics. Criminals are becoming MPs and MLAs. Use of money power, use of muscle power. Today, if I want to contest for elections, if I don't have money or I don't have a muscle power, I will lose the elections. How many times do you see an independent member getting elected to your, any post? Almost, very rare or none. Right? So with this it tells that there are other issues also. There is an issue of cost, stability, etc. is involved, but there are other things we first need to correct in our electoral system, then probably we can move on to this huge project. It's a huge project when we are talking about simultaneous elections. Right? Do we have a manpower to handle it? Right? Because your army, CRPF, etc. security is also needed for the election to happen, otherwise booth capturing will be there. Do we have enough manpower? So these things have to be taken care, and then we can move towards it. So a solution has to be given. That there are positive points also, there are negative points also, but at the moment what can we do? These things you can write down in your conclusion part. Then you can also write about that during model code of conduct, right? We can ensure that the development aspect keeps on going on rather than being stopped for certain period of time. We can ensure that no new projects will be involved, but the old should keep on going, right? Or case to case need to be, case to case basis we can decide that okay, this project is, so that stoppage of work, developmental work is not there. Right? So keep your essay very solution oriented at the end. Solutions are very necessary. Don't end your essay abruptly without giving any solutions. Right? Okay.